Welcome, everyone. We are waiting for some seconds to allow people to join the call. Thank you very much already for being here and joining us in this last session of the Sustainable Lifestyle Summit. Let's start then. Welcome, everyone. On behalf of Consumers International, the global membership organization representing consumer groups worldwide with over 200 member organizations across more than 100 countries, we empower and advocate for consumer rights everywhere. My name is Rafael Ponte. I am Sustainable Consumption Coordinator, and you are now participating in the final session of the Sustainable Lifestyle Summit, a series of 18 discussions leading up to World Consumer Rights Day that is taking place tomorrow. So we sincerely appreciate your engagement in this important event, and we're looking forward to hear from your activities during tomorrow. In this session, we will explore the role of community action in shaping sustainable lifestyles, the impact of grassroots-led solutions, and what it takes to make these initiatives long-lasting solutions towards or in the framework of just transition. Before we begin, let me briefly share some housekeeping guidelines. Next slide, please. Interpretation is available in French and Spanish. To activate it, click on More, select Interpretation, and choose your preferred language. And in the next slide, we'll see that captions are also available. You just need to click Captions button on at the bottom of your screen, set my speaking language to match the speaker's language, and my caption language to the one you prefer. We ask speakers and attendees to, the speakers in this case, sorry, to speak clearly and slowly to allow translators to do their work. Next slide, please. A few ground rules for this session. As you are aware right now, the session is being recorded and attendees must adhere to our event code of conduct. And you'll be able to participate of this session via Slido. In the next slide, you will have a QR code that you can scan with your phones, or you can also input slido.com in your browsers and join as participant by entering the code you see in your screens. We will share the link also in the chat. And right now there's the first poll running, and it will be complemented by our opening speaker's remarks. So please listen up to her remarks, and you'll be able to answer this poll in due time. Lastly, we will be sharing a wrap-up of the summit with all attendees next week. And I will conclude my introduction and hand over to Lanja Rashid, who will be our moderator today. And she is the head of the Consumption and Resource Use Unit at the Swedish Society for Nature Conservation. Thank you very much, Lanja, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rafael, and hi, everyone, and a very warm welcome to this wonderful session of inspiration, knowledge sharing, and also hopefully opportunities moving forward in community-led solutions for sustainable lifestyles. I'm based in Gothenburg, Sweden, working for the Swedish Society for Nature Conservation, SSNC, who actually started the Swedish Green Action Week back in the 90s together and by our members. So we are super proud to see that the international grassroots communities has grown since, making Green Action Week together with 50 organizations in 30 countries every year. It's a week that centers around local solutions. It's led by consumer organizations around the world, and it really speaks to the growing demand we see from consumers to live more sustainable. I have the great honor of moderating this panel of extremely competent, experienced, and inspirational panelists, 4 of them representing Consumer International members organizations, working with grassroots community-led solutions, really at the very heart of sustainable lifestyles, by using Green Action Week as a tool for that. So today we will be exploring how grassroots community-led solutions can actually transform societies from the ground, how we can actually build up alternative models for sustainable lifestyles. Because though we are facing challenges, we see that across the world, communities are proving that sustainable alternatives are not only possible, they're actually already taking shape. Promoting sustainable consumption, circular economy practices, while also promoting consumer empowerment. So today we will be hearing those stories from YCAI Indonesia, that is tackling plastic waste and water shortage by reusing plastic bottles for watering. It's also an initiative that supports women farmers, improves food security, and promotes sustainable practices. We will also be hearing stories from ADECO, Capo Verde, that is promoting local healthy eating to reduce reliance on imports. They do so by educating school communities and trying to encouraging better nutrition while also promoting food security. We will be hearing stories from Ambio in Costa Rica, fostering sustainable consumption by connecting communities through conversations, through social media, through workshops. And lastly, we will also be hearing stories from CAB in Bangladesh, that is fighting food waste by building community sharing networks and really improving food management to reduce waste, and also promoting food security. And these initiatives, as many others, really at their core resonates with the principle of social and solidarity economy, a model where economic activities really serve collective well-being. Under SSE's scope, communities are not only addressing immediate challenges, but also building long-term resilience and lasting solutions. So to explore this further, I'm very pleased to introduce our opening speaker, Simel Esim, head of the Cooperative Social and Solidarity Economic Unit at the International Labour Organization. I'm so glad that you are here with us today. So Simel, in your experience at the ILO and the UN, how are social and solidarity economy entities as sustainable economic community-based models, how are they engaging on just transitions?
Thank you, dear Lanja, for these wonderful introductions. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I'm grateful to Consumer International for inviting me to this session. As Lanja said, I come from the International Labour Organization. It's a specialized agency of the United Nations responsible for the world of work, and its mandate is on social justice. It has 187 member states, so probably overlapping with very much with the Consumer International membership based as well. And it has had this focus on the cooperative, social and solidarity economy since 1920. And it said that the organization is not just responsible for the conditions of work, but also conditions of workers, which is very much linked to consumers, of course, realm and healthy living and good living. And when we discuss sustainable consumption, the focus I notice tends to be on individual behavior. However, as many of you well know, practice and live, a real lasting change is driven often by collective action at the community level, with people coming together to shape how they live, how they produce, and how they consume. So the social and solidarity economy framework comes in at this point and invites us to reimagine our roles, not just as individuals, individual workers, citizens, consumers, but as active shapers of economic systems. It refers to a broad range of organizations and enterprises that put people and planet before a profit. And depending on the national context, this can include cooperatives, mutual societies, associations, self-help groups, foundations, and social enterprises. What sets them apart is that they're based on some form of democratic participatory governance. They're driven by shared values like solidarity, equality, fairness, and rooted in mutual aid and voluntary cooperation. And they exist around the world, across sectors, and they serve the collective general interest guided by this primacy of people and social purpose over capital. As just transition is about ensuring that no one is left behind in the shift to a greener and more resilient system, social and solidarity economy entities, like the ones I mentioned, are critical players to that. The International Labour Organization has guidelines for a just transition that explicitly recognize the critical role of the social and solidarity economy in building economies that are not only sustainable but also fair and inclusive. So where do we find these entities? We find them in renewable energy, in sustainable agriculture, in circular economy practices, and they work on preparing their members, users, and communities for shifts in sectors like energy, agriculture, manufacturing, ensuring that they are not just but also empowering. So you can find them in climate change adaptation, in mutual insurance for crops, supporting diversification of crops or improved watershed management. We also see them in mitigating climate change, in renewable energy associations, cooperatives, forestry and agroforestry organizations. In countries like Denmark, Germany, renewable energy cooperatives, communities have really helped transition their members, users away from fossil fuels while keeping the economic benefits local and controlled by the communities. In Brazil, Colombia, India, cooperatives and associations in the recycling sector have trained their members, who are often informal waste pickers, to become part of the formal circular economy in partnership with local governments to improve livelihoods while also reducing environmental waste. In the Philippines, community-based forestry cooperatives have restored degraded lands while providing livelihoods for indigenous communities. And we can multiply, of course, these examples. In Spain, energy cooperatives help democratize access to renewable energy, ensuring that benefits of environmental initiatives are shared more, redistributed, and are more equitable. So we are seeing this in these efforts, the dual challenges of climate action and social equity being embodied in the principles of environmental justice. Many of these social and solidarity economy entities are grassroots, linking producers and consumers, using local resourcing, shorter supply chains, while also reducing environmental impact. I want to share a few examples with you that are very close to my heart, especially as it relates to consumer cooperatives. It's one example of how social and solidarity economy manifests in its models. They include saving and credit associations, food cooperatives, food banks, housing cooperatives, utility associations like electricity, and retail cooperatives. These really bring consumers to join forces to collectively make consumption more sustainable, affordable, and democratic. By enabling collective purchasing and shared ownership. They make sustainable goods and services more accessible and affordable, from organic food to renewable energy. Local cooperative sourcing organic produce directly from nearby farmers supports local agriculture and also helps reduce the carbon footprint associated with transportation. They also help amplify community voices and facilitate access to finance markets, but also other public and private entities to be able to negotiate better terms for their users and members. The ILO has conventions and recommendations that encourage member states to support consumer cooperatives. ILO Convention 117 on social policy refers to reduction of production and distribution costs by all practicable means, and in particular by forming, encouraging, assisting producers and consumer cooperatives. Another ILO standard, recommendation 169 on employment policy, refers to stabilizing commodity prices at remunerative levels which are acceptable to both producers and consumers. The UN guidelines for consumer production, adopted 40 years ago and discussed earlier today, call upon member states to encourage the establishment of consumer cooperatives and related trading activities, as well as providing information about them, especially in rural areas. There are member states, like Portugal, that recognize the role of consumers associations and consumer cooperatives in their constitutions. The Portuguese constitution says, for instance, these consumer associations and cooperatives have the right, as laid down by law, to receive support from the state and be consultant in relation to consumer protection issues, and are accorded the right to be party to proceedings in defense of their members or of collective general interest. I want to reflect on a couple of examples of cooperative to cooperative trade, connecting producers' organizations with consumer organizations toward fairer supply chains that may resonate with you. And in fact, many of you may actually be engaged in similar practices yourselves. For example, a consumer-owned supermarket chain, Coop Denmark, has created a Savannah brand that advances direct trade with Kenyan coffee producer cooperatives. This initiative strengthens the export capacities for the producer cooperatives while enhancing product quality and shortening the supply chain in the process. Similarly, Altromercato is a cooperative bringing ethical and fair trade products from Africa, Latin America, and Asia, producer organizations in these continents, to the Italian consumers, including through the consumer cooperative channels. Another example is a biological pineapple producer of Togolese youth being supported to export its produce to Italian consumer cooperatives, facilitated through an Italian cooperative NGO and bank. Again, the facilitation aspect is really important here. The export facilitation, the product qualification standards, which can often, as you know, be very cumbersome. Despite all these contributions, the social and solidarity economy entities can face significant challenges: limited access to financing, the challenges to scale, lack of broader recognition of their roles, including in policies and legislation, can be persistent hurdles. But also, I think these are challenges that can be transferred into opportunities. I know we live in turbulent times, and I know it's There are many bleak examples of folding of situations, challenges, crises unfolding around us. But we can, as international organizations, civil society organizations, SSE organizations ourselves, invest in the potential, highlight the potential of solidarity and amplify their impact. For instance, the European Union has recognized the social and solidarity economy by integrating it into its Green Deal and recovery plans. As the chair of the United Nations Task Force on Social and Solidarity Economy, I can say that we have been working on promoting the social and solidarity economy as a key driver of inclusive and sustainable development with our member states, and this is manifested in recent United Nations General Assembly resolutions and UN Secretary General reports. These partnerships are essential for scaling up the impact of the social and solidarity economy entities and ensuring that their role in just transition can be fully utilized and realized. I also think, why do we need such a framework as the social and solidarity economy? Because of the turbulent times and the multiple challenges we face, I think it's really important that organizations that share similar values and principles join together, pool our knowledge, resources across movements, from consumers to workers, and work together for a conducive environment that benefits all. And I think the social and solidarity economy may be such a framework. I remember a few years ago, and I will conclude with this, talking with the World Fair Trade Organization members in Lima. And at the end of the presentation, I asked how many of them would consider themselves as belonging to or being a part of the social and solidarity economy. We are in a virtual room, but I think there is a poll ongoing. But in that room, I remember the majority of the hands being up. So I look forward to seeing how you all answer the poll that's underway now. And I thank you for listening to me and turn it back to you, Lanja.
Thank you so much, Simel. And we have the poll at the moment with the question, would you identify yourself as belonging to or being a part of the social and solidarity economy? And we have a majority saying yes. We have a lot of people saying, I would like to know more. So I think that will be, that's really a good sign of this, these principles actually growing and being shared. And thank you so much for sharing the important inputs, really highlighting the need for shared values, solidarity, mutual aid, democratic and participatory governance in the work for sustainability, but also climate justice and sustainable consumption, right? And thank you so much for your work actually forwarding those principles. And also with the reminder that no one should be left out in just transitions to sustainable lifestyles. Thank you so much. We will go to the panelists, and I would like to start with you, Renta. Could you briefly introduce your Green Action Week initiative and the impact of encouraging consumers to live more sustainably?
Okay, thank you very much, Lanja, and hi everyone. My name is Renta and I'm from Indonesia, from Yogyakarta Consumer Institute. We've been working with Green Action Week since 2016, and we have some initiative, and mostly it's in the community that we're working with. We call it Conscious Consumers Group in several places in Yogyakarta, which is more in the regional area, Gunung Kidul, Kulon Progo, Bantul, and etc. So the story began when we start working with CI, and then we start elaborating our ideas about how to promoting in social, in consumer and production in a sustainability lifestyle. And we started working with a group of women, farmers, in the area of Yogyakarta, and starting in 2021 with processed herb medicine and healthy food and family medicine, and also building a community garden. And the next one in 2022, 23, and also with different groups. But then the one that really interested in the one in 2024, because we're going back working with the group of the women in 2021, and we know that they already working on their own, organizing their work, and also like attracting more stakeholders around them to work together, even it's in a community-based other community, and also with the local government. And they have some initiative about producing more product, and also promoting more sustainable consumption around their area. So the last one, in the one that the latest that we do is working with also reducing the plastic bottles that are around, and using it to we call it repurpose plastic bottle for a simple irrigation system to water vegetable plants cultivated by women at the household level. So this is have both side of reducing the plastic, and as well as introducing a new way of irrigation for planting the vegetables. But the most important and beautiful part is when we start to build a community that are working together with the plot. We call it the vegetables gardens, the community gardens, and it's increasing different part of their well-being. So it's like more on the social side, and also as a woman's, they came together and they're happy to do it together, and they even initiate more. They have excellent experience, and then they do more. And also like they can share the vegetables around them, and also like reducing the cost of the consumption of the vegetables also. So there are a lot of, I think, like the external positive impact of after doing the program, and that's actually that we really want to share, and we want to also hear from other communities about like using community base as a foundation of a change. I think that's from our part, and looking forward to hear more from others. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Renta. And it's so interesting and so inspiring to hear the connections as well. It's not just the environmental touches of it, right? It's also the social ones. Super interesting. Thank you so much. Eva from Adecco, please tell us more about the initiative and the impact that you have seen in promoting local and healthy eating. Let's see if Eva is with us. Yeah, you are.
Yes, I am. Thank you so much, Lanja, for the initiative and for mediating. Thank you, everyone that is here today trying to go a little bit further with sustainability practices. So I'm the former president of the National Consumers Association in Cabo Verde. Cabo Verde is in Africa, an archipelago 500 kilometers from Senegal, so Western Africa on the north. So we are this small archipelago in a dry area that doesn't rain. So food is an issue that we have to think on a daily basis, and we are sustained, our food consumption is sustained by imports. 90% of what we consume comes from abroad, and naturally we are not going to have the freshest food. We are not going to have the most natural food and nutrients. And this is causing, so a lot of a majority of our food, of what we consume, is processed. So we have seen a big jump, almost 20% jump in diseases such as diabetes, such as cholesterol. And although we do not have at this moment specific scientific evidence to link it, we have had a huge jump in cancer cases, including youth cancer cases. So a very different, or a very changing scenario in terms of health in Cape Verde, and that might be very much associated with the consumption of processed food. So of course, investing and preoccupying and educating for a more sustainable nutrition, that probably more sustainable nutrition, a more natural, a more healthy nutrition, probably goes with us producing what we consume. So it can be more natural, so it can be healthier, and probably more sustainable and ecological. And going back to what our colleagues Simel was explaining a little before, we are one of the first one of the highest ranking democracies in Africa. Our democracy is very healthy, and that is, of course, the consequence of investment in education. So as an educated country that we are proud of being, our constitution already also protects the right of consumers. So it is a fundamental right, constitutionally recognized. And it also states that the government, local and central, have a duty to protect consumers' rights. So this is all established in the Constitution, in major legislation in the country, but a lot is needs to be done, because it is in the Constitution, but not necessarily implemented. So it is a fight that we have every day at ADECO to keep on with the community, to be conscious of their rights, educate them on their rights, on their capacity to be active to regarding their own consumers' rights. So specifically for this week, we have produced campaigns with local schools in order to educate on the matter of nutrition, consumption, sustainable consumption, and sustainable production. We've had a project at one specific elementary school where they produce their own vegetables. So for us, and we have 14 radio programs, one national television program, several radio and social media programs where we have educated on this matter. And we will have, just after we speak, we are going to do a media clip and TV interview to further bring these preoccupations and actions direction to sustainability. Just to finish, two elements that we believe are extremely important to further and educate on the matter of sustainable consumption, sustainable eating, sustainable production. Education since, elementary school up, but since elementary school, education on and the production of their own vegetables in a garden, in an elementary school, in the backyard. It's your first step to make them with their own hands. They can feel that they can sustain themselves in an ecologically sustainable way, in a healthy, in a natural way, all of it, and have food security. So backyards, gardens in every elementary school would be amazing. And besides that, let's not forget social media. Social media, it's where they are, it's what they listen to, social media.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Evan. So inspiring to also connecting the dots to environmental issues, but also food security, but also health issues, right? Thank you so much. I would like to go to you, Roxana, from Ambio, Costa Rica. You have been working with sustainable consumption by connecting communities. Please tell us more about the initiative and the impacts you've seen briefly.
Thank you. First, I want to thank you, Consumers International, for this opportunity to share some ideas from a small NGO from Costa Rica. We have been working for many, many years in promoting sustainable consumption among local people. The Green Action Week, that is a really important global campaign that promotes especially sustainable consumption through the concept of sharing community. That is the main objective that we are doing when we develop the local community meetings, is sharing in the community things that we have and they have. The campaign takes place annually with activities happening from September to November, and it's a really nice opportunity not only to knowing the things in Costa Rica from other countries. It's amazing to know more about other countries that are doing small things to share knowledge among the consumers related with consumption. There are many challenges in the local level, especially with consumption and climate change effects. In Costa Rica, we have promoted the challenge of climate change and my own individual change. There are some examples in the issues we attend within the Green Action Week, not allowing the use of one-use plastic bag, promoting more life to, for example, cellular phones and other things, to use electric mobilization, especially public ones, promote composting in our with our organic waste, communal organic gardens. We have some short videos and some policy briefs around different topics on like organic gardening, how to compost, electric mobility, how to reduce my climate change impacts, sustainable consumption in food, the use of water, electricity, and others. But the most important thing that we achieve with the Green Action Week has inspired, motivated communities to adopt more sustainable lifestyle by demonstrating by the small collective action that we can lead to significant positive changes for both local people and the planet, to show the power as a consumer we have to make changes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roxana, and so inspiring to also hear mobilizing communities and the importance of that, right? Thank you. And Nasir from CAB Bangladesh, please tell us more about the work that your organization have done with community sharing and food waste and the impact of that briefly. Thank you.
So thank you. I am Nazar from Consumer Institution of Bangladesh. A very warm welcome to all the participants and joining this important summit. It is truly honor to be here with you today at the Sustainable Livelihood Summit 2025. We are gathered here explore how community action and can drive real change. And I want to highlight the critical issue, food wastage and food loss in Bangladesh. Bangladesh is known for its vibrant market and the rich agricultural resource. Yet we face a paradox, millions of experience food in scarcity, while a significant portion of food is lost or wasted. Studies indicate that nearly 30% of food produced in Bangladesh never reaches the consumers. This food, which would nourish families, is instead lost due to poor storage, insufficient transportation, and consumer wastage. Food wastage is not just an economic issue, it is an environmental and social concern. In Dhaka, the average household generated approximately 580 grams of food wasted per day. And for larger families, this can reach to 1.5 or 2 kg per plate daily. Nationwide household wastage an estimated 14.5 million tons of food annually. The environmental impact is also alarming. Decomposing food emits methane, a greenhouse gas more potent than carbon dioxide. Reducing food waste help combat climate change and ensure economic savings for both farmers and consumers. Community-led initiatives are at the heart of solution. We are establishing food sharing network and community kitchen to ensure surplus food reaches those in need. Awareness campaign educate people on smart shopping, proper storage, and creative use of leftovers. Interactive food preservation workshop help promote sustainable consumption. Women are taking leadership role in food sharing network, fostering long-term behavioral change. Through the Green Action Fund 2024, we have already made progress, conducted food training session for the 140 participants, organized 2 food sharing meeting with 33 participants, held 2 community awareness event with 70 participants, hosted a national seminar on food wastage and food loss with over 150 attendees. Food safety awareness campaigns involving community people that we have been implementing in 2 cities like Dhaka and Sylhet. Activities awareness campaign on food safety, organizing food fair, recipe competition, consumer awareness survey on food safety, organizing workshop with retailers, wholesaler and farmers and consumers. Besides awareness raising among the consumers, business community as well as the producer on safe food is our year-long activities. CAB is not talking about food pricing, quality of food, and ensure the safe food is also our main priority issues. The fight against forced food waste requiring collective action. Farmers need better storage facilities. Businesses should donate surplus food, and consumer must make mindful choices in choices. Bangladesh is a country of resilience and strong community ties, but working together we can ensure food serves its intended purpose, feeding people, not filling the landfills. Let's
Thank you
educate
so much,
consumers,
Nader.
educate business. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much. And also, of course, food waste and each of our questions that we work with connects to equality in such a strong way. Thank you so much. It's time for the for a poll question for the audience. You have the opportunity to answer a poll question, and we're going to start here, and you've already done it. So the question is, what key actions or policies are necessary to enable more sustainable consumption choices on a larger scale? And the poll had some alternatives. We see a majority answering more accessible and affordable, eco-friendly alternatives. 60% also answered that circular economy national policies and sector guidelines. We have incentives for businesses to adopt sustainable practices as well. Stronger restrictions on greenwashing and false sustainability claims. It's also a question of protecting consumers' rights. Increased taxation on environmental harmful projects, 40%, and then we have 30% answering that improved product labeling for sustainability and ethical sourcing. Thank you so much. We don't have so much time left, but I would still like to ask a question to the panel regarding how governments and other stakeholders, for that matter, can create incentives and community actions so that these solutions become permanent rather than temporary. I think the panel will have like 1 minute to answer, and we can start with you, Eva. Let's see if Eva is connected. If not, Roxana, you can...
I'm sorry, Manja. I had some difficulties here, technical difficulties.
No worries. Thank you. So would you briefly answer the question of how, what are your thoughts on governments and other stakeholders creating incentives for community action so that these solutions can be permanent rather than temporary?
Absolutely, you are totally right. I mean, how can you not go on without the government's incentives and presence, since this does not have an expiration date? Sustainability is forever, exactly to ensure a future, exactly to ensure a continuity. I don't know if it's forever, but in order to ensure it is a permanent theme, a permanent priority that absolutely requires the involvement. As we had said, gardens in every elementary school should be fundamental and funded by the government. We are always pressing for that issue, although we are active, but the government is not active in Cape Verde in that matter. We are always pressuring, trying partnerships, and it is fundamental at the local level, at the central level. We need entities, we need institutions we need the government ensuring that there is a future.
Thank you so much, Eva. Roxana, what are your thoughts?
Thank you. Wait. Governments and other stakeholders can play a strategic role in supporting and incentivizing community action to ensure that sustainable solutions become permanent. One of the most effective ways to achieve this is by implementing policies and regulations that encourage sustainable practices and that at the same time beneficial to the community. The challenge is first define what kind of changes we require in each of us and how we can make them happen so that the consumer citizen is truly commitment to environmental protection and directs its purchasing power toward strengthening sustainable solution as the Simel said that the use of the cooperatives, for example, in short, as citizens in many fields in which we work, we can have the responsibility to modify our actions to achieve a real commitment to other human beings, not only for us, for the future generation, to be environmental and natural resources to more sustainable consumption. I think with the climate change effect that our life is in danger, so we need to change as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Roxana. Nasser, what are your thoughts on how governments and stakeholders can create incentives to have to create permanent solutions?
Yeah, basically community-led food waste solution must become permanent, not just temporary effort. While grassroots initiatives are crucial, they require strong support from government and other stakeholders for the lasting impact. So I have some 7-point suggestion. One is policy and regulation, some policy and regulation support, some financial support, incentive and others, public-private partnerships, awareness and education, and basically we give an emphasis to the consumer awareness to the young generation. Waste segregation and sustainable practices, we are all the time we are facing this type of problem. And encouraging food donations and community involvement in decision making. I think if we address this 7-point suggestion, we can bring some changes by aligning policy, funding, business engagement, education, and grassroots participation. We can transform food wastage reduction into lasting movement. Together, we can ensure that sustainability is not just an ambition, but it will be a reality. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and such good policies that we can all be inspired of. Renta, would you like to give us your thoughts?
Yes, I think this is a long winding road when we're talking about like we're wishing government also take as much as concern as us.
Yeah.
So the thing that we do is we just keep doing what we can do, and then try to also involve more stakeholders from media or from other communities. And other thing is also like, because we're working on the plastics waste that come from one of the biggest company for for the mineral waters. So I just don't see enough effort for the government to see that how much they make the damage by creating a one-time use of plastic bottle, the big size. And then we the one who have to really thinking and initiate some things to use the waste that they create. So we've been talking like in the next session, maybe we really need to enforcing also the responsibility, more responsibility from the producers, from the company, to also responsible with their waste. And let's see how government will take this as part of their agenda as well. But with or without them, we still need to do something. I think that's from our part.
Thank you so much. And also the importance of the civic society pushing forward, also reminding that these policies need to be at place. I would like to thank you so much for joining today, for sharing valuable insights and really highlighting the importance of sustainable consumption. But perhaps even more important, and what we maybe really need to hear at our communities right now, is the reminder that it is possible to create sustainability. It is possible to co-create sustainable consumption, equality, well-being economies. It is possible to generate social benefits while also reducing environmental impacts. And it becomes possible when we come together through sharing communities, through Green Action Week, and really demonstrating sustainable consumption in practice. So by having Green Action Week, we do sustainable consumption, right? And we do it together. And I think that is really a reminder, also providing some hope in these dark days. So please join our Green Action Week family. Keep an eye on the upcoming Green Action Week campaigns this year. Also keep an eye out for the coming movie about Green Action Week that will be released in the near future. I would really thank you, panelists, for giving your time and your insights and your thoughts. I would also give a special thanks to my colleague Sarah, and a huge appreciation post for Raphael for supporting and holding this session together. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.